right, let's get this evening cracking. I was, and I'm supposed to be resting. But I am resting right now. But let me go ahead and let me get this out to my peoples. Hold on one second, y'all. All right, I see y'all flooding in. I see y'all flooding in. I see y'all flooding in. Come on, come on, come on, come on. The bar is open, and I am about to pour it up because it's a lot of stuff that's been going on, and I don't care how people feel about what I'm about to say because I'm about to say it. I've already spoken to y'all about the lies, how people are spinning narratives and saying all of this stuff. And it's fine how people feel the way they feel, however they feel about this case. At the end of the day, I'm not that invested in this to where I really give a damn about the emotional attachments of everything. Anybody could get up here and spin a narrative, leave things out, or twist things around to make them sound more salacious and more scandalous than what they actually are. I've been watching a lot of these people that are out here, and majority of the time, you saying I sound muffled. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Is that better? Can y'all hear me now? I do not have the best lighting right now. And honestly, I don't even really care. There's a lot that has not been being disclosed to people of the public, you, the people who have a right to know about different things that have been going on. So while I have been telling y'all about the ups, downs, and everything in between that's going on with the Diddy trial, let me explain to you about how there's a narrative that is going on and how it's becoming very sexist out here, where every female is a liar that gets up on the stand. And I don't give a damn how anybody feels about what I'm about to say. A lot of y'all out here are lying, okay? It is a shame that people don't know how to go into the court and just report on what is going on. They have to add their 1, 2, and spin on it just to make it sound something that's worthy of going viral, okay? Um, for example, there was a lot of back and forth that was going on with not Mia, with Brianna. Now, Brianna has already admitted to the fact that she was higher than a Cuda Brown, all right, back in the day when all of this stuff was going on, when she was hanging out with Cassie. I literally watched today a man stand out there and say nobody should trust a drug addict to her as she was walking by, and kept repeating it and kept saying it, so much so that I took a picture and then decided that I was not going to do a video because I'm tired of people heckling in the background, okay? I'm tired of that. At the end of the day, you don't have to be nasty with what you're doing. And that's what a lot of people are doing out here, making it seem like this girl came up here and she completely lied. Okay, what I will tell you is Brianna does have a lawsuit. Okay, she did have 2 lawsuits. She had the Blackburn lawsuit, and then she has the new lawyers. Now, when she says that, when they were saying that her new lawyers took on the same narrative as Tyrone Blackburn, to a degree they did. But what's being left out of the story when people are telling it to you is that the government asked Brianna to display for them what she said. How did he grab her? She said he grabbed her from the back. And when he grabbed her around here and then ended up sliding up to her underarms. So he grabbed her and slid her up as he was picking her up. She never said that he groped her. She never said that he assaulted her. She said she did not agree to that. In fact, she fired Tyrone Blackburn for putting that stuff inside of her lawsuit. Inside of her lawsuit. Now, I'm going to keep it all the way funky and a beam with y'all out here because I'm really tired of watching mofos spin narratives. And now, because of the court order that was placed on everybody that fell underneath the sound of Judge Arun's voice, he told everyone the feed was not cut off down there in the overflow room. We heard you loud and clear when Mia got ready to testify. You told everybody, he told everybody that they were not to disclose who Mia truly was. He told everyone. And guess what? There were some content creators that did disclose who Mia was. But instead of content creators sticking together, because we already have mainstream media that is embracing us, but then we also have some mainstream media that is not embracing us, and they actually want us from down there because we're doing their job. We're getting the news out to you guys quick, 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 quick. By the time the evening news comes on, you guys already know about what's already happened because the bloggers have already come and told y'all. But bloggers are not non-biased, you guys, because you guys want to hear what we have to think and how we feel and where we're getting our perspectives from, how we're viewing certain situations. Y'all want to know. So that's why y'all come to us, because we're going to keep it real, right? But when bloggers are not keeping it real, what do? It was a whole big thing about Mia's name being disclosed. And I know exactly one of the bloggers that did disclose Mia's identity, her real name. And they were in their live shouting it out at the top of their lungs. Now, I went to this content creator and I didn't have to do that. I went to the content creator and I pulled him to the side and I told him, listen, they're trying to get rid of content creators who have disclosed Mia's real identity. And I know you did a video where you were saying her name. You may want to go in and either remove that video or edit that video and take that part out where you're saying her name. Well, apparently he must have gone and done that because now he's throwing another content creator underneath the bus, right? Playing the video and addressing the judge. But that's not the issue. The issue is, instead of saying, yes, I did, but I cleaned my page up, this content creator, and I'm not saying your name, so don't make me say your name. This content creator is on here talking about, I would never do and I never disclose. When you and I both know that, yes, you did. And you cleaned your page up. But now you're trying to get another content creator in trouble to save your own ass. And that's not cool. I'm not even talking about Jane, Shaniqua. I'm talking about Mia. The judge was looking for the content creator that said Mia's real name on their live. That's what y'all don't know. That's why I said to y'all, when y'all were saying names in the chat, I said I cannot confirm nor deny. And I had to sit and I had to think about what I could and couldn't say. But if it's going to be in the transcript, then I can say what was going to be in the transcript. But I never disclosed to anybody who she was. Who Jane is, I never said. I never disclosed to y'all who Mia was. I can stand 10 toes down and say I said that. But there's other content creators that cannot do the same, will not do the same. And I think it's nasty work. What you've got to understand is, it's a dog eat dog world out here. Anyway, now when it comes to Brianna, let me give y'all a little bit of the play-by-play about what happened today with Brianna, okay? She got back up there on the stand. I never gave y'all a full breakdown on Brianna. Shaniqua, we're not even talking about that, sweetheart. We're really not. We're really not. I was talking about Mia and her identity being disclosed and the fact that we were under a court order from the judge to not disclose it. I'm also talking about content creators who have disclosed her name, but most specifically, one particular content creator who's gotten on this internet and lied and threw another content creator underneath the bus. And I personally said something to that content creator. Just Henny being Henny, like, hey, look, you may want to go and clean up your channel because the judge is trying to get rid of people. So I did a good deed helping you when you could have easily went down, and you turn around and throw somebody else under the bus and say that you never did disclose her name when you did. You did. You did. We had a conversation in the hallway right there outside the overflow room. I don't know who told the judge that we couldn't hear in the overflow room, but that was a lie. We all heard it. I was sitting in the overflow room. I heard him loud and clear. Y'all gonna fuck around and mess this whole fucking trial up. And that's a fact. These people have lives outside of this courtroom. We were specifically ordered not to leak their name. Okay, you said the name. You made a mistake. You fouled up and you did it. But somebody tapped you on the shoulder, and that somebody was me, and said, hey, clean your page up before you get put out of the courtroom. For you to turn around and out somebody else and then say, I would never do nothing to compromise the case. But you did. You lied just then. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. The whole thing with Jane, I think that was dumb for them to try to hide her identity when anybody who's in the hip hop community is going to figure it out. Let me tell you something. By the time we got out of court, there was already something up. And it wasn't even from anybody that was inside the court. It was somebody outside the court. And now people trying to figure it out and trying to get people to confirm. I'm not going to confirm or deny who it was. I will not tell y'all. Just like I didn't tell y'all who Mia is. And I knew that same day. We left and went out on break. By the time I went back upstairs in court, I knew who she was. When it comes down to Mia, she entered back into the court and went underneath cross-examination with Nicole Westmoreland. Okay. Now, the first thing that was put up on that screen, and I'm going to give y'all this because at the end of the day, I'm sick of people trying to spin. Westmoreland put the picture up that Cassie and the gentleman took in Malibu. Westmoreland put that picture back up because that's the day that Brianna Bana is saying that Diddy came in her face like this and told her that he was the devil and he could unalive her. That's the day. That's the day. She goes on to go through a list of things and says, on May 10th, 2016, 10 days after the threat, she continued on her friendship with Cassie. And Westmoreland said, true. Brianna says, yes. They showed a photo of some pills. And they asked Brianna what was in the bag. Brianna said that she could not identify what kind of pills they were. Okay? Westmoreland then went on to show another photograph. Well, actually, let me back up. She showed a photograph of something. I don't know what it was. It was like some crushed up something. I don't know. But it was an illegal substance. Then the next picture was the pills. Okay? And Westmoreland was trying to establish that Brianna kept her friendship with Cassie and they continued to do the substances that they were doing. Okay? Then Westmoreland took it back to the balcony. All right? And she said, you know, Diddy held you over the balcony and threw you onto the patio furniture. And Brianna says yes. She says, Cassie saw this. Brianna says, I don't recall. Westmoreland goes on and says, you hurt your leg, your back, and your neck. Brianna says yes. She asks her, you have night terrors. Brianna says yes. She has night terrors and nightmares. Westmoreland says, you had a nightmare days before this. Brianna said yes. Westmoreland asked her about this situation. She said in general. Now, let me ask you something. If somebody dangled you over the balcony, 17 floors up, and is threatening you, gonna drop you. Brianna is about this tall. She about 5'9". She's a little thing. You could snatch her up like a kid and dangle her. You gonna tell me you're not gonna have night terrors and nightmares about that? I would. You almost lost your life. But people aren't looking at that. They want to say, oh, she lying. She lying about that. She ain't having no nightmares. She ain't having no night terrors. Have you ever had the dissatisfaction of coming within an inch of your life? You don't forget that. So then Westmoreland goes on and says, you know, Tyrone Blackburn lied. So Brianna says, I don't, that he lied in the demand letter that he sent out. He sent out 2 demand letters, you guys. He didn't send out 5 and 6. He sent out 2 demand letters. And Brianna says, I don't know what he lied about, but I know he lied. Meaning she doesn't remember what he lied about, but she knew he lied. So Westmoreland says, in the lawsuit, it was alleged in the demand letter that Diddy grabbed and squeezed your breast so hard that it left bruises. So Brianna said, I don't remember the context. How did he grab her? From the back here and lifted her up. How do I know that? Because she demonstrated it. That he grabbed her and lifted her up. One foul motion. Is that so hard to understand? So she said she doesn't remember the context in which Tyrone Blackburn said that. So Westmoreland says, I'm asking about that one. Is that true or not? Brianna said it was not true. She said on the stand, while she has a case going right now, yes, she's testifying in this case while her personal case is still going. And she said that it was not true. Okay? So then Westmoreland says to her, the lies are why you got rid of Tyrone Blackburn, right? So she says yes. But then she brings up Brianna's new lawsuit. So now let's get to that. Let's get to that. Okay? Brianna versus Diddy. I have the paperwork. I have the court docs. Y'all should know this is what I do. I'm not no newcomer to this. All right. In her, hold on. Now, I am not biased to truth. Now, when Westmoreland says that it's not true, I mean, when Brianna responded, it's not true, that's not true. That's where the story is coming in at. But I can guarantee you that the due diligence was not done on anyone's behalf that is saying that she lied. Her lawsuit, which was filed, oh, this doesn't have a filing date. This doesn't have a filing date. November 7th of 2024. What is she suing Diddy for? The number one thing on there says sexual battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, and then all the violations of the acts. Okay. Let's read the complaint, shall we? Let's get to it. I'm going to it right now. Factual allegations. September of 2016, assault. They don't, okay, so it says on or about September, on or about, which means somewhere around there, either on that date or around that date. In the early morning hours, Miss Bungalon, her then girlfriend, and Miss Ventura were sleeping in Miss Ventura's apartment. While they were sleeping, Mr. Combs suddenly and violently began shouting and banging on the door to Miss Ventura's apartment. Recognizing the voice to be Mr. Combs and knowing his violent temper, Miss Bungolion told her then girlfriend to hide in the guest bathroom and lock the door while Miss Ventura remained in her bedroom. Mr. Combs gained entry to the apartment and, upon seeing Miss Bongolion on the balcony, advanced on her. He saw her on the balcony and he advanced on her. He grabbed her, turned her back to his chest, and it says, M-worded her by groping her breast and yelled to be left alone. So the line that was in Tyrone Blackburn's case is still in her line in her case right now. But she's on trial right now, testifying, saying that it's not true. Now she says, when Miss Bungolian began to physically struggle, Mr. Combs shifted his hands from her breast to her armpits and lifted her up on the banister of the 17th floor balcony while repeatedly yelling, "Do you know what the F you did? Do you know what the F you did?" Miss Bungolion did not then and does not know Now, what Mr. Combs believes she did. Miss Bungolian attempted to resist him, throwing her weight back in a struggle not to be thrown to the ground, and what would likely be her unaliving. She managed to get herself back over the banister, but at 4 feet 11 inches tall and weighing under 100 pounds at the time, Mr. Combs easily overpowered her again. He immediately lifted her up higher and over the 17th floor balcony of Miss Ventura's apartment, with only Combs's grip keeping her from falling to her death. At this point, Miss Ventura emerged from her bedroom and witnessed Mr. Combs holding Miss Bungolian over the balcony. She screamed at him to stop and told him that there was another person in the apartment, referencing Miss Bungolian's hidden girlfriend, who was aware of his presence and could hear the shouts from the relative shelter of the bathroom. Mr. Combs, recognizing the threat of so many witnesses to his assault, pulled Miss Bungolian back over the balcony, but he did not release her. And in a last fit of violence, he slammed Miss Bungolian onto the balcony patio furniture, including a table. Mr. Combs' assault was only the untimely manifestation of Miss Bongolian's legitimate fear of him, which began long before. Miss Bongolian knew of Mr. Combs' violence and abusive behavior before she even met him. Miss Bongolian initially met Mr. Combs through her friend Miss Ventura, whom she met in 2014 while the pair were working at Diamond Supply Company. At the time Miss Ventura was dating Mr. Combs, and Miss Bongolian noticed a disturbing pattern of abusive behavior. Mr. Combs would call Miss Ventura's work, whose demeanor would immediately change. Miss Ventura would abruptly excuse herself and speak in hushed tones, making sure that no one could overhear their conversation. Mr. Combs would also call Miss Bongolian's and Miss Ventura's boss at work to yell at him for allegedly trying to F his woman. Okay? Once, when Miss Ventura and Miss Bongolian were out shopping, Mr. Combs texted Miss Ventura angrily that she had not answered his calls. Miss Ventura showed Miss Bongolian the text messages and a list of Ventura's last several locations with a message that read, "You better effing answer." On several occasions, Miss Bongolian and Miss Ventura were spending time together. At the latter's apartment, Mr. Combs would show up unannounced and started banging on the door. Miss Ventura would instruct Miss Bongolian to be quiet, as to make Mr. Combs believe no one was home. Brianna, because I'm going to stop saying her name, recognized these as disturbing signs of an abusive relationship. These suspicions were confirmed the first time Miss Ventura showed her the bruises. On or about May of 2016, Miss Ventura Cassie called Brianna via video conference to show her the black eye she received from Mr. Combs. Brianna was concerned for Cassie. The beatings appeared to become more reoccurrent from then, as Brianna regularly saw Cassie with bruises. Brianna worried for her friend's safety, but it was also clear to her that Mr. Combs was a man to be feared. In one incident, Brianna was visiting Cassie at home. Diddy was there. The couple got into a fight, and Diddy threw a large kitchen knife at Cassie, who, acting in self-defense, threw one back at him. Brianna cowered in the corner, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. So, I can confidently say the only thing that she was not 1,000% truthful on was what was in the lawsuit. As far as that portion goes. Okay? That's the part right there. On this lawsuit though, on this piece of paper, I do not see Brianna's signature. Yes, Vanessa. Cassie gave testimony to her having a knife in her door. Let me see if it's in this phone. Right here. Cassie gave this testimony right here. Miss Ventura, who placed the knife in the door in this photograph? Cassie, I believe I did. AUSA Johnson, why did you put a knife in your door handle? Cassie, I was getting a lot of unannounced visits from Sean when he was angry and trying to unalive me. She figured 2 birds with 1 stone. It served as to lock the door and a weapon. So when they were questioning Brianna as to how did this knife get there, and she said she don't know, it wasn't a lie. It wasn't from the, I mean, trying to say it came from the kitchen, it didn't. It came from the door. Anyway, your new lawyers claim sexual assault. And Brianna said that's true. Her new lawyers did do that. So she didn't lie. She said that it's not true about what the groping part is not true. But she did say, yes, her new lawyers, your new lawyers, she said that's true. She said, you spoke to the government. You told them Diddy groped your breast. Brianna said, I told them where he placed his hands. That's what she said. She said, I told them where he placed his hands. Now, I may have to go back on the statement that I just said now that I think about it, because she's not the one who said that there was assault in her paperwork. She didn't say that on the stand. She said Tyrone Blackburn lied about that and I fired him. She's got new attorneys. The new attorneys put the sexual assault in there. But she didn't go to the government and tell them that that's what he did. She showed them how he grabbed her. And I showed y'all how she showed us on the stand how he grabbed her. Okay. So now I stand corrected. Where'd she lie at? All right. So then Westmoreland goes to January 18th of 2000. And I can't read what I put there. Westmoreland is going in, you spoke with the government, never claimed that Diddy grabbed her by the breast. And she said, I don't remember. So now there's a narrative out there that's saying that Westmoreland said, you never told the government that. And being very condescending about saying it. Brianna said, I don't remember. So then she says, in January, the first meeting, Blackburn was there. Someone was taking notes. This is when Westmoreland was like, in January, Tyrone Blackburn was your lawyer, and he was there. And you do know that when you meet with the government, that someone is there taking notes. And then she said, making a claim of that nature is pretty big. Then there was an objection to that. So Westmoreland goes on and says, your lawyer created the lie and you started repeating it. So Brianna was like, can you rephrase that? She said repeatedly, she repeated what she said. Your lawyer created the lie and you started repeating it. You knew it wasn't true. You fired him and you repeated it. So they said objection. So now Westmoreland goes again. Blackburn set Blackburn set the demand and there were lies in it. True. Brianna says true. And you fired Blackburn. The sexual assault was a lie and you kept the lie. So they said objection. And she was told to rephrase again. So she goes, the lie about grabbing your breast, you reported it? So Brianna said, can you repeat that? I don't understand. It's the words started. It's hard to agree with you. Because she said that Blackburn started the lie and you kept it. So now she says, you kept accusing Mr. Combs of sexual assault even after you knew it was a lie. Brianna said, I'm sorry. It's hard to understand what you're saying. Sorry. This is when Brianna started playing the game with her. Okay. So she's like, can you rephrase it? So now this is where Westmoreland starts getting upset. She goes, ma'am, did you believe that the only way you could file a lawsuit was if you claimed sexual assault? Brianna said, I don't remember. So Westmoreland says, you didn't call the police, right? Brianna says, no. Westmoreland, you were screaming for dear life. Brianna says, repeatedly. Westmoreland says, oh, she said, repeat that. She said, you were screaming. Brianna says, yes. Westmoreland, did anyone call the police? Brianna doesn't know. She asked her if she went to the hospital. She didn't go to the hospital. She didn't go to urgent care. She went to a chiropractor. And then she says to her, Westmoreland says to her, you were really hurt. Like being sarcastic. And Brianna says, yes. She asked her about the neck brace. And she says, the chiropractor showed her how to put the neck brace on. And her girlfriends put bandages on her. Okay. They asked her something about warning the government about her ex-girlfriend, Sarah, or something like that. And they asked her to rephrase it. But then Westmoreland went on and said, Friday it was Tiffany Red, and then it's somebody else. So Brianna said, I don't remember. So Westmoreland went on to bring up how she was hanging out with Puff repeatedly, or Diddy, after the situation happened. But Brianna had already told us that they were trying to be friends at that time. They were trying to be cool. They already had a conversation and they were trying to be cool. Now, Westmoreland, like I told y'all, she kept trying to poke holes in that balcony story. But regardless to whether people want to believe the prosecution or they're all for the defense because they're just glizzy gobblers when it comes down to Brian Steele and all the rest of them, they're going to transform like Voltron and be Thanos of all of this. If they do, they do. But one thing that these pro defense team people cannot deny, explain why Diddy. First of all, you tried to poke holes in the story and make it seem like Brianna was lying. But then the government was able to pull some text messages that showed that Cassie sent a text message to KK about the whole situation that had gone on. Not only that, riddle me this. Why is it that Diddy, because if you remember yesterday when Brianna testified, she said she got a phone call. Who'd she get that phone call from? Come on. I'll get it for you. Hold on. I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. Okay. Who was the guy that called her? Something Holiday. Oh, dang. I just said it. I said it earlier. I have it. Don't worry. I got it. It's somewhere in here. Either way, Brianna testified that she received a phone call from someone that she believed was her friend that was actually calling her on behalf of Diddy. And this person said to her that Diddy wanted to settle. And Brianna said she didn't want to settle. Now, why would Diddy be trying to settle a case with somebody if he was innocent? Rob Holiday. Yesterday, she testified that Rob Holiday, after she filed her lawsuit, called her phone on a FaceTime. And when she got on the FaceTime with him, she recognized the backyard. The backyard was Diddy's backyard. He was calling on behalf of Puff and told her Puff was trying to settle with her. Brianna denied what was being offered to her, and she never spoke to Rob Holiday again. Now, why would an innocent party who did absolutely nothing to her, didn't dangle her over the balcony, didn't do none of that stuff, why they trying to settle? Henny gang, y'all give me some scenarios on that. He knows he's guilty of what he did to her. Friday and Monday, so you know all kinds of events starting from tonight. I don't know what you're talking about. But at the end of the day, between Diddy trying to settle this case, the text message from Cassie to KK about the situation that happened, all of that tells me that it happened. All of that tells me that that happened. But you know what? That's just like people tried to say that Mia got destroyed on the stand. Mia got demolished on the stand. Mia held her own against Brian Steele. And while everybody has all of this energy now, I'm hoping that they have all of this energy when the defense comes. The defense still has to call their witnesses, and the government is going to have their day at cross-examining. And they better hope that it ain't none of these people that's already been coming up. Because if you think that the government didn't do their due diligence, you are sadly mistaken. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. I believe a lot of people, she didn't get destroyed. She didn't. People talking about Mia lied, Mia lied. If somebody tells you they don't remember, you can't call that a lie. Let me ask y'all this. Is me eating bothering y'all? Let me know. Okay. Oh, somebody said yes. You're the only one. I'm sorry. Oh, most of y'all eating too. Okay. Okay. Now, they saying that Brianna lied. That the prosecution don't know what they doing. The prosecution is a team full of women. And this is where all that he-man woman hater stuff comes into play. I don't give a damn about anybody going to the feds. I don't care if mofos are coming on here talking about they've done 10 state bids. If you've been to the feds, then you should know about the 35 predicate offenses of the RICO. Tell your mama to go. Bye, young Pepe. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's how I feel about this. Now, I'm not being very animated because I'm actually quite annoyed. I'm actually quite annoyed by all the stuff that I'm seeing that's going on online with all the sexism. Hearing the men and even some women saying, oh, that's just domestic violence. Domestic violence is not, it's never, oh, it's just. I've even seen some people saying that domestic violence is not a crime. Listen, this is one sick world that we live in. I've heard people say that they've been close to DV. Y'all think that all of this stuff, y'all think that none of this stuff is domestic violence? Of course, what happened to Cassie is domestic violence. Of course, if there's violence with Jane, which we know it's coming, well, Eddie, you don't have to. How about that? Anyway, we know that it's domestic violence against Jane. But people don't think that what happened to Mia is domestic violence. People don't think that what happened to Capricorn Clark would be considered domestic violence to a degree. But guess what? That's not what we're talking about here. Cheryl, goodbye. How about that? You don't have to be here. Oh, yeah, my mods don't play in here. It's violence. It's acts of violence, you guys. That's what it is. I'm about to tell you. Domestic violence in the workplace. Let me pull this up for y'all. What is coercive control? Domestic abuse isn't always physical. Coercive control is an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threat, humiliation, and intimidation, or other abuse that is used to harm, punish, or frighten the victim. Coercive and controlling behavior is at the heart of domestic abuse. I'm going to read that again for the ones in the back. What is coercive control? Domestic abuse isn't always physical. Coercive control is an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threats, humiliation, and intimidation, or other abuse that is used to harm, punish, or frighten their victim. Coercive controlling behavior is at the heart of domestic abuse. Coercive power is when someone intentionally tries to control you or make you behave in certain ways by doing or saying things to make you feel afraid, ashamed, and anxious. When one person in the relationship uses manipulation and controlling behavior over the other person to create an uneven power dynamic. Who does that sound like? These are conversations that don't nobody want to have. Jose, I hope that's not your wife for real. I hope you're joking. Now let me go. Hold on. This comes from Psych Central. Okay? Red flags of coercive control. Assault, which is physical violence, is one of the most extreme versions of coercive control. This is when it's physical, okay? Threats, insults or humiliation, isolation, isolation, actively monitoring, financial control, sexual coercion, taking away a person's freedoms of personal choice. Violent crimes in aid of racketeering. This includes violent crimes in aid of racketeering. Examples of this are unaliving, kidnapping, maiming, assault with a dangerous weapon, assault causing bodily injury, and threatening to commit a crime of violence. Hold on, you guys, because I'm trying to see if I can get y'all this right now. Sorry, y'all. All right, I was looking up something. Henny already did. F you been under a rock. What you mean? Who is crypto? You got smoke with crypto? What question are you asking? I ain't gonna lie, that money ain't worth it in the long run. D Rock thinking to himself, probably he's asking for names of victims because, in his words, Cassie is the only one. There's Cassie, there's Jane, there's Capricorn Clark, there's Mia, there's George Kaplan. I think his name is Daniel James. Well, Gina is not stepping forward. And that's more than two. That's true. So at the end of the day, here's the thing. This is not my typical live, okay? This is not my typical live. It started off because I've been pissed off about people lying, about the narratives being pushed and pumped out there. And I'm tired of having to always combat against the lies that are being put out there versus the truths that are not being heard. At the end of the day, is there a level of healthy accountability that everyone has to take in the situation that they're involved? Absolutely. There is a level of healthy accountability that people must take, but they can only do that when they go through therapy and go through true healing from the things that they have gone through. In this case, there is so much where people have no empathy at all when it comes down to somebody stepping forward. In fact, the fact that everybody is sitting back, oh, that's domestic violence. He coming home. Like, it's cool. It's still not cool. Did you not watch the video that happened? Did you not watch the video? Did you not see that video? Everybody's seen that video. So that's cool. And then the video wasn't edited. They went through that whole thing. Okay, so since you weren't here, Crypto, and you didn't hear the whole whatever, let me tell you, let me put you up on game, because they had an expert that actually came in and testified to the video yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. Yes. The forensic audio and visuals specialist that came in yesterday and testified, he already spoke to the fact that the video that we did see on CNN was sped up, but it was not sped up by anyone other than the person who recorded it. And the person who recorded it was Israel Flores, who was the first person to testify in this case. He took his cell phone and he admitted that he recorded the video to take it home and show his wife. Do I believe that? I mean, to a degree, you may have wanted to show your wife, but you held on to it. And it's awful suspicious how that very video is the one that ended up going viral and getting up on CNN. Okay? All right. But he's the one that sped it up when he was recording it. So he sped it up to record it in his phone. But the expert said the reason why the video was probably sped up was to save memory, because speeding the video up makes it shorter. Okay. So all he had to do was slow that down in real time. When it came down to the different camera angles, they were using the content. So if they saw Cassie go around the corner and she gets out of eyesight of the camera here, they relied on her coming around the corner in this video to line it up. Why were they doing that? Because sometimes when you have multiple systems, they're not always on the same server. The timer that's in the top corner of the screen may not always be they may not be synchronized. So they didn't pay attention to that portion of things. There were glitches in the system because those cameras, while they stand still and they're watching in one position all day long, as soon as some motion comes in, it'll glitch because it's trying to pixelate itself to fill in as this person moves. But the crazy thing is, when there was movement, there was a glitch in the system when it came down to the numbers. And the way the expert explained it was, because it's not a picture and it's numbers, it's going to do numbers. But when you played the video through, there was never really any chops. There might have been two places where it was like a second or two of the video was missing. You had one portion of the video that they showed where Diddy was holding the suitcases in his hand and he lets it go, but it hits the floor. You never see it drop. He lets it go, it goes right onto the floor, which means that there was a snip right in the midst of that. So the videos were never altered. They were never played with. They were never none of that. So the video is actually authentic. And Diddy paid the security guards, another guy, Eddie Garcia, who was a security guard, another security guard at the hotel. Diddy paid him $100,000 to erase the video off of the computer out of the system and bring him the only copy on a flash drive. And that's what Eddie did. And then Christina Karam took pictures of the security guards' driver's licenses and made the security guards sign an NDA on Combs Enterprise letterhead. Those are facts. Now, listen, I personally do not know Diddy. Diddy did not do anything to me personally. He did not do anything to anybody that I know personally. But I'm looking at the facts of the case. And while the defense's job is to poke holes and they're kind of doing the same thing, they're doing what they're supposed to do, at the end of the day, These people are still victims, and people don't have any empathy at all. At all. Do I have empathy? I do have empathy for Diddy. You know why? Because somebody put him onto this. Something is wrong. Something is going on with him where he needs help. That man was doing a boatload of illegal substances, him and Cassie both. Did I say he's innocent? Hold on. I'm scratching my head. Where did I say he innocent at? What I said is I know that something has happened. Somebody put him on to all of this. Somebody put him on to all of this. This is what I'm saying. I don't know how that turned him on either. Diddy is a scapegoat to what? I don't know if it was his mama or what. I'm more leaning towards the higher ups that put him on in the music industry, if you catch what I'm saying to you. I'm watching these people. I'm watching these people, and I'm not watching them because I would listen. There's people that have come forward and have claimed that things have happened to them. And in my gut, I feel like they was lying, and I have no problems with saying I don't believe that story. I came and I told y'all, I started this video off saying that Brianna lied, only for me to go through the damn thing and reread what I wrote and realize she never said that that's what happened. That never came out of her mouth. She's said that that was a lie. She demonstrated what happened to her. So that's something that will need to be corrected within the lawsuit. But here's the other to he that other people don't know, and the tea that I dropped earlier when it came down to this case. Brianna was supposed to go for a case management for her lawsuit against Diddy on June 2nd. Nobody from Diddy's side showed up. Nobody from her side showed up. She has to go back to court on July 24th, if I'm not mistaken, about the case management. And there's also been a motion to dismiss for non-appearance that's on the docket for that same day for her. So if it was really a matter of her trying to do a money grab or get rich quick, don't you think she would have gotten on the plane after going to her case management? Oh, yeah, I'm not denying none of that. Here's the thing. I'm never going to sit here exactly, shoo shoo. Exactly. Exactly. If you go on my channel, you'll see that I've already covered the whole thing with Diageo. I've already covered it. Now, do I believe that they may have a hand in putting all of this? I've said this before. Everybody in here knows. I believe they have a hand in getting the ball rolling on all of this, but I also believe that they knew some of the secrets that surrounded him. And because he decided to go at them, they gave him the 2 milli, told him, oh, by the way, we taking your deli on. And then they went and hollered at they people at JP Morgan Chase, and he ended up having to sell Revolt. Even though, let me just be very clear, as when a person starts a business, the goal is to flip the business. So if you build a brand up to the point where somebody is interested in buying your brand, you then sell your brand for a profit and you go on to make another one. But as soon as all of this stuff started coming down, he started losing everything. And now he even lost his freedom. But that does not negate away from the fact that we are sitting in a case right now that is supposed to go for 2 months. We've got 4 more weeks of this trial. Well, when we hit Monday, it'll be 3 more weeks left of the trial. And in those 3 more weeks left of the trial, we still have to get the defense's witnesses in. But right now, we're listening to all of the victims. And people are bashing them and all of that stuff. Shameful society that we live in. But I'm going to go back to what my original statement was, okay? There is no need. There is so much content out there. There are so many followers out there, etc., etc., etc. So where we don't need to be out here beefing on one another or trying to knock somebody off of their horse for whatever reason. Because I heard that it was 3 people. That's what I heard. That it was 3 YouTubers that actually leaked Mia's real name. But I stand on what I said. Now, hopefully this individual doesn't start no mess, won't be no mess, because at the end of the day, don't get on here and lie when I'm the witness. I'm the witness, and I'll take a lie detector test on whether or not I saw you saying, I heard you saying that girl's name out loud in your live. You told people that girl's name. And I went and told you to clean your page up. That little clip that he was playing, that wasn't even her. She was reading something when she said it. Play the whole damn thing. Don't just play the little part. Play the whole damn thing. So you know what that tells me? That he planned on going up in there and playing that little piece of video, throw somebody else under the bus to save your own tail, when in all actuality, just be honest and say you did, but you didn't mean no harm. Content creators could probably care less about who Mia's real name is, but the courts sure do care. And it's crazy how we're so stuck on Diddy and what's going on with Diddy. Harvey Weinstein done already had his case. Hello. And while people are quick to say that these women need to take accountability, blah, 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 where's the accountability for Diddy? Because guess what? Here's the thing. Diddy never denied the violence. And they even said that he does not deny the violence, that he does not deny that he has a bad temper. He's not denying any of that. So why are y'all? Some of them people outside be making it seem like a madhouse out there. Outside is the madhouse. Inside is not so much a madhouse. Thank you for the Cashapp. It's not a madhouse inside. Inside, you clearly know who stands where and how they feel about things. And let me just say this. If somebody is on the prosecution side, I don't give a damn about any of that. Feel how you feel. That doesn't reflect on the person that you are. I'm trying to get to know people. I don't know all of these people. I'm getting to know people. So I'm trying to get to know all of these people that are out here or whatever. Your view is your view, but don't lie. You don't have to lie about things. You want to cut off other people's bread and butter so you could be the top dog. You never get nowhere. When you do things like that, when you do dirt, you get dirt. The scales of justice must always balance, and it will. When you do dirt to tip that scale, guess what happens? Karma gonna spin the block, and you end up being just about square. Ah, uniquely. I can't wait for people to take the stand of the prosecution is gonna eat. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You know, it's sad because you see his mom. His mom is an older woman. His mom is coming in every day, going into court. His kids are sitting there. I salute you, Sisty, because nobody can do this like you do, especially the explanations of the court docs. We are able to understand thoroughly. And if we don't, you make sure we understand. Thank you, Hottie B. Are there some questionable things at play? Hell yeah, but that's still somebody's child. I don't know. Somewhere along the line of life, I have developed this thing called empathy for people. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this. Whatever the verdict is going to be, it's going to be. But you know, you don't get to beat the feds and it just go away, right? Thank you for the super chat, Jenny. You don't just get to beat the feds and it go away. So I guess the question remains, is it really free Diddy? Will he ever really be free? Because the truth of the matter is, he'll never be free. His reputation has been tarnished forever. All his dirty little secrets are out. Everybody knows what he was doing behind closed doors. He's been exposed. He's been exposed. So you could want to see him not do jail time, but you can never undo what's been done. Because even if he's found not guilty, Hollywood is quiet. Hip hop is quiet. Not one hip hop artist has shown up at that court and gone in that courtroom in support of him. Not one artist has come out speaking to his defense. Stevie J was saying something, but where's he at? I can guarantee you Stevie J is probably going to end up coming and testifying on his behalf. Ray J is the only one that's out here saying anything to defend Diddy. Thank you for the super chat, Quinn. She said, you're speaking the truth. Thank you. They know. They knew. They've been knowing. Yes, and Kanye. They been knew what he was doing. They been knew what was going on behind the scenes. Listen, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. You don't get to those levels and those heights of heights without getting some smut on your name. He's not the only one. Diddy is not the only one, you guys. There's a whole lot that we don't know because it don't come out, but it will. It will. And right now, they can't say anything because if they say something, they will be exposed as well. And that's a fact. And this is why I am trying to put people on to look at how Diddy's RICO is set up. Look at how Diddy's RICO is set up. Because I can guarantee you, this ain't going to be the last time that we see a RICO like this. Young Thug's RICO was a state. That wasn't federal. We're gonna start seeing a lot. Russell done ran off to Bali. Bali, I'm sorry, where there's no extradition laws. So they're not gonna extradite him back here. But he better not step foot on US soil. He can't never come back to the US. He can't never come back to the US. But I tell you what, him running to a place where there's no extradition, all that does is tell me that he's guilty. And it's sad. And I know I'm on a soapbox tonight, but it's really, really sad because people that we're supposed to be looking up to, people that are supposed to be the pioneers that paved the way, those people are now falling. Think about for how many years there's been artists out here telling us about the powers that be. And a lot of them got shut down, blackballed, blacklisted. You go against the machine, you're blacklisted. It's crazy work. And instead of people just reporting on what's going on, coming and educating you guys on what we're learning in court, people choose not to do that. They choose to be sensationalized. I don't want to be sensationalized, you guys. They're not even bringing children up in this, okay? There's no children involved. There's no unalivings involved or attached to this RICO. No, none of that stuff. So that's why I'm not talking about any of that stuff, because none of that is being brought up in the case. But all of these top powerful mogul people who have been highly successful, they better watch their backs. You don't have to find the tunnels. We know where the tunnels are. They know where the tunnels are. It's sad. A whole legacy is crumbling right now. I'm not celebrating this. I feel a way about this. Honestly, I feel a way about this. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this is a part of my culture. This is a part of what I grew up with. This is a part of what happened during my generation. You understand what I'm saying? Like, hip hop, I was here in the days of the I was here in the days of old school, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, and all of that stuff. I was here to watch hip hop evolve. I was here for the Nas, here for the DMX, here for DOS effects and all of that. I was here for that, for the evolution of it. And in the background of all of that, there was Bad Boy and there was Rockefeller Records, straight out of New York. Two men that seem to have blown up out from nothing to something, from an illegal life to a legit life. I watched these empires grow. I watched as these people evolved and became powerful moguls, businessmen. From the hood. And now look. And when I'm looking at this case, and then you go back and you look at all the Diddy parties, everybody wanted to be at a Diddy party. Not talking about freak offs, but everybody wanted to be at a Diddy party. And all the people who were people to know were at those Diddy parties. Hip hop artists, movie stars, preachers and politicians and all types of people were going to Diddy's parties, Diddy's birthday party, Diddy's white party, Diddy black party, Diddy Ciroc party, Diddy De Leon party. Everybody was going. Those same people, where's LeBron? LeBron talking about ain't no party like a Diddy party, but you ain't sitting up in a Diddy courtroom. Nobody wants to touch it or be around it because it's radioactive and they're scared. They are scared that if they come and sit next to him, if they come and they support him, that they're going to be next. And it actually makes me feel away because it's like, damn. This is what the legacy of hip hop has come to, hip hop Ricos, from hip hop cops to hip hop Ricos. Exactly, Beth. Radioactive like some poison. As many years as we've seen Jay-Z and Diddy together, all of a sudden Jay-Z pushes away. Nah, crazy work. You absolutely right, Swagger. It damn sure could. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to go. I just wanted to come up here and kick it with y'all for a little bit. Y'all know I don't usually go live in the evening, but I did. And it's 11 o'clock at night, and I need to go and go lay down because I have a big day tomorrow. Tomorrow I have to be at the court because Jane Doe is testifying, and I have to be there. I have to be there. So I will be up in the morning. We will have our morning live. And, like I said, make sure y'all are following me on all platforms. Tonight was kind of a chill. This is kind of a I'm sleepy, but I have something to say type of vibe. But when y'all rest well. Oh, yeah, I was saying that. Be sure y'all are following me on all platforms, okay? Instagram, That Girl Henny Reviews. TikTok, That Girl Henny. All right? So y'all rest well, and I'll see y'all in the morning.